The sun was sinking low over the dusty plains when the first rumors began to spread, rumors that a band of ruthless outlaws had been spotted riding toward the small settlement of Santa Rosa. The people of the town grew restless, for everyone knew the reputation of those men, killers, thieves, and worse. No one expected to stand against them. No one, except the lone vaquero who had lived on the edge of town for years, working the cattle, keeping to himself, and rarely speaking unless spoken to. His name was Mateo Vargas. His broad hat-shaded eyes that had seen too much violence already, and his weathered hands bore the scars of rope, saddle, and steel. For years he had sought peace, building a quiet life with his herd and his horse. But when word reached him that the forajidos were coming, something stirred inside him. He could not allow them to take the town, not while good, hard-working people lived there. He saddled his black stallion at dawn, a rifle slung across his back, and rode straight to the heart of Santa Rosa. The townsfolk gathered around as Mateo spoke few words. They will come soon. When they do, they will bring fire and blood. But if we stand together, they can be stopped. The people looked at him with a mixture of hope and fear. Few had the courage to fight. Most wanted to run. Yet Mateo's calm strength gave them something to cling to. With his guidance, they began to prepare, barricading windows, gathering supplies, sharpening old tools that could serve as weapons. By midday, the outlaws arrived. A dozen rough men, dust rising behind their horses, laughter on their lips as if destruction were a game. Their leader, a scar-faced brute named Calderon, dismounted in the center of town and demanded gold, food, and women. His voice carried like thunder, and terror swept through Santa Rosa. But Mateo Vargas stepped forward, rifle in hand, and faced him without fear. "This town has nothing for you," Mateo said. "Turn back, and you may yet live." Calderon sneered. "And who are you to tell me what to do, Vaquero? I am the man who will stop you." The two locked eyes, and for a moment, silence reigned. Then, as quick as lightning, Calderon reached for his revolver. But Mateo was faster. The shot rang out, and Calderon's hat flew from his head as the bullet grazed him. Chaos erupted. The outlaws drew their weapons, but Mateo had already taken cover, firing with deadly precision. The townsfolk, emboldened, joined the fight, throwing rocks, striking with axes, and shouting with courage they never knew they had. The battle raged in the streets, dust and smoke filling the air. Mateo fought like a man possessed, moving from cover to cover, his rifle cracking like thunder. Slowly, the tide began to turn, the forajidos falling one by one. Yet just when victory seemed near, fate intervened. From the edge of town, a cry rang out, a woman's voice. Mateo turned and saw her, a young woman clutching a small baby to her chest, her face pale with terror. She had wandered too close to the gunfire. One of the outlaws, desperate and cruel, grabbed her by the arm and pressed a pistol to her head. "Drop your guns," the bandit shouted. "Or the woman dies." The fight froze in an instant. Even Mateo stopped, his rifle raised but useless. The townsfolk gasped, fear replacing their newfound courage. The baby's cries echoed across the square, piercing and raw. Mateo's heart clenched. He had seen enough bloodshed in his life, but the sight of an innocent child caught in the crossfire cut deeper than any wound. Slowly, he lowered his rifle, stepping forward with hands open. "There's no need for this," Mateo said, his voice steady. "Take me instead. Let the woman and her child go." The outlaw sneered. "You think I'm a fool? You're worth more dead than alive." But before he could fire, the young woman moved. With fierce bravery, she twisted her body, shielding her baby and striking the outlaw's arm. The pistol went off, the shot wild. Mateo seized the moment, rolling to the side, snatching up his revolver, and firing a single, perfect shot. The outlaw fell, and the woman stumbled free, clutching her child to her breast. The battle roared back to life, but the spark had changed. The townsfolk, seeing the woman's courage and Mateo's sacrifice, fought with renewed fury. Within minutes, the remaining outlaws were defeated, some fled, others lay wounded, and Calderon himself, humiliated and bleeding, was forced to retreat into the wilderness. Silence followed, broken only by the sound of the baby's cries and the heavy breathing of exhausted men and women. The town had survived. Mateo Vargas stood in the center, his chest heaving, his hat lost in the dust. The young woman approached him, tears in her eyes. "You saved us," she whispered. "You saved my child." Mateo shook his head. "No. You saved yourself. You saved us all." She smiled through her tears, pressing the baby close. And in that moment, something changed in Mateo's heart. He had lived so long in solitude, believing peace could only be found in silence and distance. But now, looking at the woman and her child, he realized true peace came from protecting, from belonging, from love. In the days that followed, Santa Rosa rebuilt. The townsfolk treated Mateo not as an outsider, but as their guardian, their hero. The young woman, whose name was Isabella, often visited him. She would bring food, laughter, and the quiet warmth of her child's tiny hand reaching toward his rough fingers. For the first time in years, Mateo allowed himself to dream of something more than survival. He dreamed of family, of love, of a future not haunted by the past. And though the wild frontier still held dangers, one truth was clear. The Vaquero had faced the forajidos with courage, but it was the woman with the baby who had truly changed everything.